Hello, so we're going to go over how to make tiles for a video game if you're not worried about having tops or bottoms. So for starters, what I would do is I would make a file that is exactly the square that you're supposed to be working in. So I forgot, Alan, what you were doing exactly, but I thought it was 36 pixels square. And then I would actually bump the resolution up to 144 just so that it can be retina display if they decide to do that. And then we have this here. I'm going to make a new layer over here, and then I'm just going to paint bucket in a color. And I remember you saying you were going to look thinking about concrete. And you can kind of see what this looks like right here. Start adding paintbrush effects, whatever you want to do here. And so we'll kind of zoom in to look closer, so it's not just a... But then realize that, yeah, this is really zoomed in. It's not going to be this detailed when we get there. And then just start making marks. If it's concrete, you probably don't want to do what I did, but I'm just going to kind of show you how to work this. So you just make some marks, and then you're going to come up here to filter and down to other and use what's called offset. And then you can change these around to kind of offset it so that you can see it's not going to be an obvious line here because it's all one color, but you can see where it used to be. So if I turn this down to 0, here's where it is, and I can slowly move it to tile to the right and slowly move it down to tile to the left. And then this might be kind of noticeable. So then just kind of fix this by putting some dots right where that line would be. And then now you have something that's instantly tileable. Then what I would make is I would make a new file that is maybe, let's just make it 1080. Yeah, we'll make it at the 1080 that you're working at. And I'm going to go up to view here and turn on a grid so I can kind of see a grid so I can snap to the grid. And then I'll also do a snap to grid. That's already on. Great. And then I would start to bring this over here to this new file and kind of see what it looks like, right? And so what's nice is the snap to grid is on, and then I can duplicate it and move it over and kind of place some to see if I like that. I can turn the grid off as I need to. And this one obviously doesn't look great because I have this little squiggly mark here. But let's go back to this other one I have here, and then this one is another one I did. And then maybe that's okay. But that's something that you would want to look at to see if it works for you. And again, this is only for if you don't want to really have a top or a bottom, if you don't need that. Watch the other tutorial if you want to have an actual ground, a inside ground, and then a ceiling. I'll show you how to do that. It's a lot more work. This way is a lot easier. And then it's just about making the angle, which I'll show you how to do that. How I would do that is once you're happy with this, oh, and what I should also say is you can make a bunch of duplicates of this, right? And then add slight changes to the center. So like if you were talking about making a vent or making, let's see here, any number of other things, right? You just make that on a new layer. Somewhere in the middle, not on the margins, and then you can just keep like bringing those over, right? And so they'll still match up on the outside, but then the inside could be different. And so you could have 2 or 3 of those, just add some variation within there. As long as you don't draw to the edge, if that makes sense. So just grab and drop, make a duplicate. Actually, maybe I'll turn that off. Go back and turn this one off. So this is kind of the base model, right? And just keep making duplicates of this and adding slight changes into that. And that will help to add like some variation within this tile set, right? So maybe even just something as simple as like a circle down here or a crack, right? That will be enough to add some variation into these things, right? And again, I don't think you need more than like 3 or 4 different ones with like a kind of base model that works for long periods, and then these sort of things to kind of break it up. That will make the entire tile set with the exception of the angle. And so how I would do the angle is come to one of these that you like, maybe the base model that I have here. I would use the pen tool, and I'm just trying to get a perfect 45 selection. And my estimation, the best way to do that would be to snap to document bounds and then use the pen tool to come exactly at the corner, exactly at the corner, exactly at the corner, right? And yeah, that made a perfect 45-degree angle. So I made a path and then right click on this and make selection. And then this comes up, and yeah, no feather is fine. And now I have a selection, come down here, and then use the selection tool, right click layer via copy. And so now I have a 45, bring that over just to make sure that it works and you like the way it looks. I should turn on my snap to grid. I should show my grid, I guess. I have to show the grid to make it snap. There we go. And I'll turn off the grid real quick here to see if that looks okay. So my only concern was like, yeah, that looks okay. So this lines up nicely. So that will work. That process will work. And then they'll do all this stuff in their program, right? If they need to rotate this, they'll rotate it in their program. Likewise, if they want to build a platform, right, they'll build a platform by putting however many together. If they want to build a cross, they'll build a cross in the program. You don't actually have to do that, right? And then the only other thing you need to do is do a bouncy block, which I don't know how they want to do that, and then some sort of way to do a, let's bring over 2 blocks. Some sort of, I think they wanted a image that kind of obscures the player. So I put 2 blocks here, and then I would make a new layer and just paint whatever you're thinking within that sort of 2 block effect. And you'll have to ask to make sure if that's possible or not. But let's say like, yeah, you want some grass down here, and then you want some vines right here. I don't know exactly what they're looking for, but just keep it within 2 blocks so that they can kind of overlay that, right? And so now if I move that off, you could see what that would look like. And then the character could be behind there, is my understanding. And that should be it. Let me know if you need help. Thanks.